What's up, guys? I'm back with another video. Today I am talking about the top 10 strength weapons in Elden Ring. This list is just for PvE only. To be classified as a strength weapon, the weapon must have only strength and dexterity scaling, and the strength scaling must be better than the dexterity scaling. Also, I will only have one weapon from each category to make it more interesting. I also have to say that there are some great strength weapons that will not be on this list, and this is just my opinion. With that being said, let's get right into it. At number 10 is the Warped Axe. Now, it's an axe, so you think it would be not that good, but the Warped Axe actually gets a unique light attack combo that is faster than the regular axe moveset. It does get the regular axe charged heavies, but they are fairly quick. The Warped Axe has an S scaling in strength. With Cragblade, the Axe Talisman, and the charged attack Crack Tear, this weapon can do great damage. Wild Strikes is also a good Ash of War you can use. Also, you don't have to rely on Ashes of War or charged attacks, you can just use the light attack combo, which does solid damage. Number 9 is the Claymore. The Claymore is unique among greatswords for its heavy attacks, which are thrusts. You can buff the charged heavies with the Spear Talisman, the Axe Talisman, the charged attack Tear, and the Ritual Sword Talisman. Also, it's a great sword, so it has a decent light attack combo. Lion's Claw and Wild Strikes are good Ash of War options. Or if you want to focus on the charged attacks, then you can use Cragblade. The Claymore is found very early in the game, and his automatically has Lion's Claw on it. You can use this weapon to dominate the early game. A Fire Affinity is also good with this weapon with Flaming Strike, especially in the early game. It is very powerful. The Claymore is a classic. There are many possibilities with the Claymore. Number 8 is the Serpent Hunter. The Serpent Hunter is a great spear, so it has a very good moveset, especially its charged attacks. You may be noticing a pattern of weapons with powerful charged attacks. We are talking about the best strength weapons, so prepare yourself for more of those later on the list. The Serpent Hunter also has good roll attack pokes, but the Serpent Hunter shines best on a charged attack build. As usual, use the Axe Talisman and the Spiked Crack Tear, and optionally, the Ritual Sword Talisman. The strategy with this weapon is to use charged attacks as much as possible. The Stonebarb Crack Tear is also useful to do more stance damage. If you have the equip load for it, you can keep an Executioner's Great Axe in your back pocket to use when you break an enemy's stance. Number 7 is Great Stars. Great Stars is a great hammer with bleed damage. A cool perk about Great Stars is that it heals 1% of your health on every hit. You can make a cool build based around health regen using spells and an Ash of War called Prayerful Strike. Prelate's Charge is another great option to regenerate health. However, my favorite build involves using the Ash of War Wild Strikes. I also like to use the buff Bloodflame Blade or Blood Grease. Alexander's Shard is useful, of course, and I also use the Bull Goat's Talisman while in the open world for more poise, so I can spam Wild Strikes on enemies. A charged attack setup is also decent with the Great Stars. The light attack combo is not that great with the Great Stars and Great Hammers in general. Where this weapon really shines is the Ashes of War you can put on it, such as Prayerful Strike or Wild Strikes, as I mentioned. At number 6 is the Stone Club. The Stone Club has very fast light attacks you can easily spam. It is very similar to the Iron Cleaver in its moveset. However, the Stone Club does strike damage and the Iron Cleaver does standard damage. The Stone Club's heavy attacks are also faster than the Cleaver's. I use Cragblade with the Stone Club to boost its damage and poise damage. I prefer to use the light attacks rather than an Ash of War on this weapon. Because it is a hammer, it doesn't weigh a lot, so you can wear heavy armor. You can go full tank mode with the Stone Club because there aren't many talismans to buff the weapon besides Ritual Sword or Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. If you want to, you can use all defensive talismans. At number 5 is the Knight Rider's Glaive. Because it's a glaive, it has slash damage instead of standard. The Knight Rider's Glaive is a halberd. It has an S scaling and strength with a heavy infusion. You can use Giant Hunt or Phantom Slash on it, and it does great damage. Phantom Slash is great on this weapon because you get 4 powerful hits in 1 Ash of War, and it doesn't cost a lot of FP either. Giant Hunt is also a great skill to use with this weapon. No wonder you get the weapon and the skill from the same boss. At number 4, we have the Giant Crusher. The Giant Crusher is the heaviest weapon in the game. It has a unique heavy attack that does an absurd amount of damage with Royal Knight's Resolve and the usual charged attack buffs. All you need to do with this weapon is revert to Caveman and bonk enemies with Big Stick. There is not much more to say about the Giant Crusher. If you want to use them, Cragblade or Lion's Claw are not bad options. Number 3 is the Rusted Anchor. The Rusted Anchor does pierce damage, which is one of the best damage types in the game. Not many enemies are resistant to it. You can use the Rusted Anchor in many different ways. You can use charged attacks with RKR or Cragblade, or you can use a skill like Lion's Claw or Wild Strikes, or you can dual wield 2 of them. The problem is, you can only get 1 per playthrough. You can power stance it with the pickaxe for full pierce damage, or you can use a different great axe. Any way you use it, this weapon is just gonna get really good damage because it does pierce damage, and it has good strength scaling. Number 2 is the Greatsword. The Greatsword is an incredibly strong sword. It does really good damage and has really good scaling. The moveset is not that good, so we are going to mostly rely on roll attacks and Ashes of War. My favorite Ash of War to use on this is Giant Hunt, but Lion's Claw is also a good option. Charged attacks can also work, but Ashes of War will just be faster and easier to land. But any way you use this weapon, it's going to do really high damage. It is also a colossal sword, so it does good stance damage. You can get it right at the beginning of the game, but it does require 31 strength. If you have the strength for it, you can easily destroy the early game with it. At number 1, we have the Star Fist. The Star Fist is super good because of its charged attacks. They come out incredibly quickly and do surprisingly good damage for a fist weapon. We are going to build entirely around charged attacks. Use Royal Knight's Resolve or Cragblade. The charged attacks also do very high stance damage. In the Physic Tear, we will have the Spiked Crack Tear and the Stone Barb Crack Tear. Use the Axe Talisman and Ritual Sword Talisman. This thing does super good damage, and it also has bleed, though enemies will not bleed much because they will already be dead. I don't have much more to say about the Atar Fist. Use the charged attacks and you will do well. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Elden Ring and Dark Souls content.